How was the retention from the time off to today?
It was pretty good. We actually installed a little bit, and I thought it was good. I think, as coaches, we're really pleased. There's a lot of competition, and when you have a lot of competition, the guys, I think they pay a little bit more attention in meetings, and the attention and effort and everything in practice is a little bit better. But I thought it was one of our better days for coming back off of a pretty long break with spring break. The guys competed, didn't finish the way we wanted to about the last 3 or 4 periods, and so that's something to learn from. But overall, through 7 practices, offensively, I really like the spirit, the competition. The guys are a fun group of coach right now.
Any conditioning issues coming off the layoff?
Not too bad. A little bit. Sometimes the big guys up front are the ones that it's a little bit harder for. But some of the guys were talking about, some of them went home and worked out at their school and did those type of things. And I think the big thing that we're really focusing on, especially with the young guys, is the tempo and the speed and be able to think when you get tired and be able to still play fast. But, overall, it was really one of our better days for coming off spring break.
In your particular position group, I know you've probably got a good idea of who those first 3 are going to be, but are you starting to develop some depth behind those guys, and who are you seeing step up?
The guy I'm really proud of through 7 days is Trevion Thompson. He's a guy that kind of gets forgotten a little bit. And sometimes at that position, we've had a lot of guys that were fortunate to come in and play as freshmen. And, for Trevion, the situation was a little bit different because we had good numbers coming. And so we knew he was going to be a good player, but I'd say he's a little bit further ahead than where maybe some of us expected him to be, and so that's critical in the 9-man position where Mike Williams is. As a coach, the thing that you get excited about, is to see a guy like Mike Williams go make a big play, and then 2 plays later, there's Trevion going the other way, making another big play, and because it's important, the depth. Obviously, you got a long season and a tough schedule. You got to have more than just those front 3 guys. And so I would say Trevion, Jermon Hopper has had the best few practices that he's had in a while. His attention's been a lot better, and I think he's always had a talent. It's never been an ability issue with him. It's always been a focus and just consistent commitment to doing the right things on and off the field to be a great player. And I really like the way that he's working. And then, Hunter Renfro, he's a guy nobody really wants to talk about and think about, but he's just consistently day after day making plays. And so he's working to find his way for a seat on that bus.
Do you find out a little bit more about your guys, maybe character-wise, during this time of year? Because there's no game right around the corner. I mean, this is all work.
Yeah, it is. And I think it tells you the guys that love football and the guys that just do it. And, the guys that love it are taking advantage of every opportunity. Today was practice number 7. I mean, we're halfway through spring practice. Got 7 more practices, spring games number 15. And, the guys have been really good focus. They've got a good work ethic. A lot of that comes from leadership. I just feel like we got a really good core group, that have been in the program for a while with Coach Sweeney, and kind of the culture that has been developed. You just see those leaders just kind of taking over and taking those young guys, and the young guys don't know any different. And so we've been pleased with that.
Has Sharon shown everything that you need to health-wise and specific that he's going to be able to be himself again?
That's the thing. Sharon obviously is a very talented player, and but he never got back healthy last year, and we always we're trying to get him back, and he just have a setback. But he's had very good 7 days. He's moving around, playing both, really all 3 positions. And he had 3 touchdowns today in pass scale. And he's one of those leaders for those younger guys that the younger guys can watch. That and he's got something to prove. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He knows this is his last year, and it hadn't gone exactly how he wanted to go. But now it's how do you respond? And he's obviously got a big year ahead of him. But I think he's in the best shape and mentally and physically that he's been since he's been here.
Have those young offensive linemen hit that camp wall yet?
So far it's been pretty good. I think usually you talk about your seniors and your upperclassmen kind of setting the tempo for the offensive line. But, those 4 have really, it's really there's 8 guys. You got those 4 true freshmen, and then you got Justin Falcinelli, you got Hearn, you got Maverick Morris, and you got Crowder. Those are 8 guys all within the first 2 years that, since I've been here, 2008, I haven't seen a core like that. And I'm not talking about just ability. They're very talented ability-wise, but just hungry, work ethic, no drama, high character, and all of a sudden it kind of transforms really to some of the older guys too. And but those 4 guys, they're ahead of schedule. Offensive line obviously is a very tough position. Now, with all that being said, we haven't had our first true scrimmage. We'll see Wednesday kind of where those guys are. But very, very pleased with really that whole young group of offensive linemen.
You mentioned guys that worked out on their own and stuff throughout the week. Can you tell when you see that on the practice field?
Yeah, you can. I think just some of our coaches talking real quick there after practice, you can tell some of these guys. You can tell the ones that didn't, that maybe had a lot of fun and really didn't think about it until they got back today. Then you can tell the other ones that, took pride in that. And but really, I was expecting to see a little bit more of the cramps or things slowing them down, but really, I thought they did a pretty good job with the tempo all day. And it also helps. We're repping 3 groups, which typically you don't do that in the fall, and so that helps. So they're not getting as many reps as they typically would in a practice week.
You guys had the 10 or so bowl practices and now 7. You, Tony, Brandon, is it now becoming familiar and easier, settling into a routine?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. I think Coach Sweeney made a good decision getting Coach Streeter in here for bowl practice. So really coming back out this spring, it wasn't like it was something brand new. But Tony and I work well together, and really the whole offensive staff. And it's been probably overstated, but Coach Morris, deserves a lot of credit because he allowed us to have a lot of say over the last 4 years, a lot of input, not just in game planning, but even this time of year in the practice script, splitting it up among the other 4 coaches and letting everybody script their part of practice. And so really it's allowed the transition to be a lot smoother. And Coach Streeter's done an excellent job. I'd say Nick Schuessler, in my opinion, is probably the MVP for the first 7, offensive MVP for the first 7 practices. Just looks like a completely different guy, and so Nick deserves a lot of credit for that, and so does Coach Streeter.
Is everybody that came into the spring healthy on offense? Still healthy? For the most part?
Yeah, and it's hard to get through today, but so far I don't think we've had any major injuries or anybody at the sideline.
Clemson's had a lot of position changes that worked out pretty well. Is this the time of year when those decisions get made, or when you start thinking about that for individuals?
Just saying, let's repeat that again.
So, like when you have whether it be Vic Beasley,
Right.
guys that are going to